Hey everyone, this is the story of a high school dropout who started from absolutely nothing. He later made millions, lost millions, made millions again. He's a professional trader, he's an entrepreneur, he's a freelancer, he's a jack of all trades, he can learn anything. This is a story of resilience, of not giving up, and I think there really is something here for everyone, whether you're a aspiring full-time trader, a full-time trader, or an entrepreneur in any way. I hope you enjoy. This is the story of Max Berktold. Uh, Enjoy. We've got this. We're live. We're doing this. Um,
We're
so I'm
doing
here
this.
with Max, and I'm Computer Brain. And Max is an amazing trader, an amazing person. He's really inspiring, and I wanted to mix up some of the content that I've been producing and kind of showcase Max and get pick his brain on the markets and pick his brain on how he's a trader and how he came to where he is. But I'll give a little backstory for everyone. So Max and I have known each other for a couple months now, and we've kind of become fast friends. We met in a mentors Discord group. Kind of the guy who got me into trading, Trader Mercury, who's an awesome trader, awesome mentor, awesome guy. Max and I met there, and we kind of hit it off very quickly. And I think everyone will benefit from hearing Max's story and how he got interested in trading, all of his various side hustles, how that motivates him to be like, a better trader and all that. So maybe Max, maybe we start with like your intro and, how you got into trading, who motivated you to do it, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Thanks for having me here, man. Really glad we do this. Um, yeah, I will start right at the beginning. I think maybe it's a long story, maybe it's a short story. You can cut me short if it's getting too long.
No, I think the
Okay.
more details, the better. I think you're very interesting, and I think people will like to hear from you.
To understand where I'm coming from and how my journey went, I actually have to start right at the beginning at when I dropped out of school.
It was this. This
Because
was this was university.
it is. I never was at university actually. I was in normal middle school
Hmm.
and then made that extra 2 years to get like some certificate to go to a university, which is
Hmm.
called Abitur in Germany. So it was a technical certificate I got back then, and then I made like a co-university thing with Siemens, the first corporate company I worked for, and I got the title associated engineer. So not real engineer, but associated engineer.
And were
So
you a mechanical engineer or you were a software engineer?
I was a software
Yeah.
engineer when I started.
Okay.
I never wanted to start as a software engineer, but I got somehow into it because of the money. Um, so when I dropped out of school and I was really struggling in school and felt left behind because I was a pretty lazy guy. And school, I never liked school because of the thing that I didn't understand the purpose of it because, and I never fitted in that someone like told me what to do. I always had a problem with it. And the funny thing is, back then in school, my teachers always told me that I'm a very like they told me basically I'm a genius. I'm very intelligent person, but I'm just lazy. They tried to get me to learn because they saw my potential, but I refused to because they tried. So I was really struggling, a very rebellion person,
What were you
and
interested in school? Like what didn't you like about it? Because you're clearly smart, and now you would never guess that you're lazy because you're not lazy. Like you're one of the most
yeah.
hardworking people that I've like met. You do all
Okay,
these things. You
I
have all
had
these companies. You're a weightlifter.
yeah,
You're a great trader. Like
yeah,
there's all these things.
yeah. The problem I had with school was that at first I had fixed times. I needed to get there when they told me to, and there was a problem when I'm missing, even when I don't see sense in the thing they're teaching at that day. And it never made sense for me. And the second and more bigger thing is that in school you have teachers, and the teachers, most of them didn't really achieve anything. And I had a problem. Like I had big dreams, always
Hmm.
had big dreams, and I wanted to create companies early on. Not started with it, but that were just not. It seemed not the right persons to learn from. And also in school, there's so much stuff that you will. I was sure, and I was right. I will never use it ever again in life. What I had to learn there for a damn exam or so. So it was a time waste from my
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah. No one uses biology or chemistry really in their normal life.
If you're not a biologist,
Yeah,
right?
unless you're a
Then you don't
biologist.
use it.
Yeah.
So that was a problem for me. Just I think it was the teenage years, and then this fact, right? And then I also like had very toxic friends, and I have to admit I had a really downside spiral back then when I dropped out of school. Also drug problems, like bad environment stuff, and so it was not all that was very positive for me. And that's why I also was very bad at school, which then led to that I didn't really had a big choice for my first job. And the problem was when I dropped out of school, I had a technical certificate. So I searched for technical jobs, and there was like a job in the IT, so information technology. And I thought it was just from the viewpoint out, where can I make the most money in a job? If I have to get a job, then I should have a job where I earn a lot of money. And IT was booming, right? Nothing works without computers. So I thought it is just a logical decision to go in that niche. So I applied for the job, and with a bit of vitamin B, I got into a big concern called Siemens in
Hmm.
Germany. And the problem was, because I was bad at school, they dropped me into a team which was the back end of the back end of the back end of. And what they did, they made thermodynamic simulation software for power plants, for big turbines. And that was a mess of a code, 50-year-old code base. Thousands of people worked on this, and I did not understand one line of code. But then I realized the comfort and stagnation of a corporate job. I call it the illusion of a corporate job. I thought, okay, Siemens, I'm an associate engineer, information technologist now, will be a breakthrough. And I work now for a big renovated company. It will be interesting, and I will work on interesting stuff. But wasn't really that. I just had to show up, and no one really cared if I'm. It was strange because no one really cared if I'm actually working. I thought I can just sit here drinking coffee and wait till the day is ending. And the idea of spending years and decades doing that work, like working on something I didn't understand, working on something I didn't like, with people I didn't like, but in a dark little office in the back end of Siemens. And for most people, that was the end already. They played the whole game. You drop out of school, you find a girl, you get a job, you make a family. That's the end. That's the dream. That's the end. That's you wait for the rent, basically. And when I realized that, that is now the start of the next 40 days of my life where I do exactly that. I was like, okay, maybe I should kill myself or do something else.
Yeah.
Because that was not an option.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Um, so most people are totally fine with having good salaries, the benefits of a corporate company, the rent you get, and the security. But there's, for me, was no fire, no passion, no purpose, no nothing from that. What I wanted from life, what I wanted to feel was there. So I realized really early that something had to change, and it was all a trap of comfort. The whole system is a trap of comfort for me. In my point of view, it's a trap because they give you so much security and comfort and give you all of that. You can basically chill your whole life and then go to rent. And they give you enough money just to live and live good, but it's a hamster wheel, right? You
Yeah.
cannot really do extraordinary stuff. You're not really free because you have to work, because if you not work, you get no rent. and they allow you to take 1 month off a year. So they allow you for one
Yeah.
month to not work.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
So
most
that
people are
was
just
no
so risk
option.
averse, right?
Yeah.
People just don't want to accept any downside. And I think that's just the case with honestly just most human beings. They kind of operate from a place of fear, and it drives a lot of their decision making. You know, fear of losing this, fear of losing that. You know, fear what what happens if the worst happens. But
Oh yeah.
clearly that's not how you think. Why do you think that you think like that? You know, why do you think you're built? I mean, literally just built different than other people.
The thing is, in life, action takers win. So that I knew I need to do something because I will otherwise I will lose and will live that life forever if I don't do. I also had fear. Everybody had fear. The difference comes in when you, despite the self-doubt and the fear, do it anyway and just try it. Because for me at that moment, um, was the possibility of doing that job forever was like dying. So that was the bare minimum. I cannot fall the like if I lose that job, I can get another 9 to 5 job. I can't go below a 9 to 5
You
job.
can't go back.
It was the
Yeah, you're
rock
okay.
bottom, right? So in German. I have was in school and I had a job at Siemens. So the Siemens was already in the CV, which means in our region here you get a 9 to 5 job in pretty much every other little company if you drop out of Siemens. So I knew, okay, that is now my baseline. And of course I had fear and I had no idea if I even had any skill that mattered, which I can leverage to do something else. I had absolutely no idea. A lot of self-doubt and still was stuck in that cycle of negativity. But I really early on knew I need to change something because at least I knew that was not an option. And I think, okay, the difference comes in because you asked, do you accept that as your life? Or do you realize, if I'm honest with myself, that is not an option? And because you break the trust to yourself in that moment that you accept the reality because of self-doubt, you just accept it how it is, even if you know you don't want it. And in that moment you lose because you cannot go back. It's really really hard if you go that path for 10 years to then realize, okay, I fucked up. You can. Many people do. Many people do. But I knew from early on, if I now accept that and try my way in Siemens, that will be it for the next 10, 20 years.
Hmm.
So that was never an option. And I had a lot of time at Siemens because they didn't really knew if I was working. So I could use that time to search something or something I could do. And yeah, that gone on for quite a time. I worked there 1 year. Always when I drove that 30, 45 minutes to work, I asked myself, is this it? Is this my life? No, every day, every day. I was not very happy with it. Am I really doing this 10, 20 years? And like 4 years straight, I knew something had to change, but I had that fear and I had no idea. It's not that someone says, that's not a reality that you say, oh, this is not an option. Now I do something else, and you have right like in that moment ideas what to do and the self-confidence to do something or quit your job directly. No, it's like you have to go through a time of thinking and developing, like the thoughts develop into an action over time. And if you stick to it and stick to searching for something else, you will eventually find something else and then do the first step. So that was it. And
So what was the first step? When did you make the change? How did you make the change? Tell us.
I I good friend, good question. I It was so that a friend of me had a crazy idea. I was searching for something to do, and eventually one day a friend of me came to my place and said, "Hey, I have a crazy idea. He needed my opinion on an idea. He wanted to create an app and startup for the party universe to connect people. Like we wanted to create an app where you see all people on a map that are out there. You see the bars, how much people are at the bars. You see the vouchers they have offered. And the bars basically see the people in the field and can engage with the crowd. And I was really, really hyped about the idea because back at that time, despite my Siemens job, I was very ego-driven and partied a lot in my life. So I was out there smoking weed, partying, drinking, and then the friend, and I searched for something in life, and then a friend come to me and say, hey, we do a startup for a party app. And I was like, that's it. I had nothing.
Merges
I
all your
started with
passions.
exactly
Yeah.
that. I started with exactly that. And that was really the first step because it was funny because, and that is luck service area. If you prepare yourself for something, so if you're open to do something and searching for do something and have the energy to do something, because why is this friend coming to me? Because he already knew I wanted to do something. I had that energy in me. I wanted to do something. So he came to me to start that. And that was the moment I saw the light on the end of the tunnel because it was a vision. You know, when you have an idea for a startup, what can grow out of a startup? Possible you get money from that. Possibility is you get financial freedom from that, or even more. And suddenly I knew with one idea, with one action, with building one thing, I could totally change my life and drop out of Siemens and go into the direction I wanted and create something. And that was so motivating for me that I dived right into that. And we had no idea how to do it. And I didn't really was a good programmer back at that time, but we knew we needed to create a mobile app. So what I did was I started learning mobile development while at my 3 hours at Siemens, and then till the night hours at home, I worked, I learned, and we built that app. And back then we had a new app framework out from Google, which was Flutter. It just released 1 year ago back then. So I started with that because the advantage of that was it was a cross-platform framework. So you develop in one programming language and you can develop Android and iOS apps. So it was pretty clear because I didn't really want to learn Android development and I didn't really want to learn iOS development, and especially not both to create one app, right? Because that was the normal way back then. So a cross-platform framework came right away, right, like to the right time at that point. So it was like very much luck. And I say luck because that really started a career. Because when we started that startup, I said it previously, I worked till the night times, and balancing that work and the startup and all those struggles you have when creating a company or try to create a company from scratch, especially if it's your first, it was really draining energy from me. And the startup, at the end, the startup failed. Like we poured month of work into that party app, late nights, endless iterations, constant testing. We believed in it, but reality doesn't care about enthusiasm. It is much like, as much as we loved that idea, it never gained traction. We made rookie mistakes. We put a lot of energy, but we never made it to the final product, and it was never really so market ready. And already so much time gone on that my friend quit and I quit that idea. But at that moment, I learned something priceless. I could build mobile apps at that point. I learned a new skill because I tried something. Through the trying to create that company over 1 year, we tried to create that. I learned to create mobile apps, and we recreated that app. We recreated, then we created the business app. And now it was not just at Siemens. I was at Siemens, but I was also a mobile developer. And I completely learned it from scratch. And then some time go on because the startup went bankrupt. We stopped it. A bit of money loss, bit of energy loss, but I had a new skill. But I had a new skill and no idea what to do with the skill. So I was branching out and tried different side hustles. And man, I tried everything. I tried e-commerce. I tried drop shipping. I tried affiliate marketing. Back then I was very active in fitness. I created an Instagram account for fitness. We ended up with 70,000 followers and we sold ebooks through
That's
that channel.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah. Within 1 year, we created like 70,000 followers. And then
And you were selling
teach
products
them
to
how
them
to
too,
trade.
right? It wasn't just the Instagram posts. It was you were selling like courses too, right? Training
Yeah.
courses.
Yeah.
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 So
Training
cool.
courses, training ebooks. We were called Monster Wolf Fitness. We had like the yellow wolf as logo. It was just the time when this fitness boom was. And then we used that channel to market products and sold our own ebooks. I did it with a friend of mine and created a company. And back then I had affiliate marketing websites created WordPress website. Like I tried everything. I watched every YouTube video about creating digital products, selling something in the internet, creating e-commerce. And I also tried more affiliate things like e-commerce stores. I had like run 5 Shopify stores at that time, one with success. And then I started Amazon selling because it was really easy. You buy a product in China, you send it to Amazon, they make the packaging, they make everything on demand when someone orders on Amazon. And I knew one thing from all videos: you have to find the right product and it will sell on its own. Like, just find that one niche product. And I searched for weeks and months, and then I found it. Back then on Amazon, one product was not in the listing, and that was the silicon ice, how you name it, ice
Ice
cube
Cube.
makers,
Yeah.
out of silicon, that with a lot of colors and forms. And they didn't have that on Amazon, but it was on Alibaba and all that Chinese stores, and it was really cheap. So I could buy like one ice cube maker for 5 cents and sell it for $2.50.
Wait, you were arbitraging from Alibaba. You're buying it on Alibaba and then selling it on Amazon?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I contacted the seller directly from Alibaba, and then I ordered like 2 tons of that thing. Like I tried it with 100 pieces and they sold out in the first 2 days. And I knew I
And so
had the
you knew you
product.
had something.
I had the product and I had to be fast because there are like thousands and hundreds of thousands people doing the same. They are always watching for the new trend. And that was not on Amazon. So I had to be very fast to get that premium listing, that first orders, that 1,000 comments and 5-star reviews. I needed them. So I put on all my money into this. I ordered 2 tons of that, 2 tons of silicon eye cup. That's a lot.
That is a huge amount.
Yeah, over 10,000 pieces,
Oh my
like
gosh.
15,000 pieces or so.
And they
I
you,
ordered.
you just send it right to Amazon?
I sent it to the Amazon
Got it.
warehouse. They took it, they repackaged it with an own branding, so you
Mhm.
can send just a photo of your logo. They rebrand that
Mhm.
stuff. So they throw away the Chinese packaging, put it in a new package with your brand. It was like,
Amazing.
okay,
Amazing.
great. Then Amazon takes 30% and you get the rest. That was the deal back then. So I sold it and it sold out within weeks. I made a lot of money with that, few $10,000 in 1 month. And I knew maybe after the startup idea, after all the Shopify stores, after the affiliate marketing, after the Instagram channel, now I am a successful Amazon reseller. So I was pretty sure this will work out. I ordered even more. But then things turned out unexpectedly. I got a call from Amazon that they blocked all my orders because it came out that, like, it turned out that you have to have a CE logo on your products in Europe if you sell them. And what that means is that it's checked by a company that's responsible for security of products, that every product you put in your mouth, basically. Every
It's
product
like a health
that,
inspector.
yeah,
Yeah. Safety
kind of.
inspector.
But also knives or something like that have to do that. like everything it's a health inspection. Name it health inspection. And it came out that they tested my product because someone called them, don't know who, within the first weeks, and it turned out that they were actually toxic. So I ordered toxic Amazon, Alibaba ice cube makers. They were really cheap, so I wasn't really shocked that they were toxic, but it was pretty shitty because I asked them, yeah, now what? And they told me basically, oh yeah, well, what you now have to do is call every customer. We can give you the email addresses and phone numbers that ordered from you, and get the product back and inform them that it's toxic, and hope you have to hope that no one like died from it or had any shit. And he said basically, and we have to remove it from the Amazon warehouse as soon as possible because they will have a health inspection too. So I have to pay for that removal. And what they do, they burn it, and the burning is really cost intensive. And then some other dude called me, and it turned out that was one local lawyer from Germany, because they sued me because it's actually like you can't do that.
They're just
And
looking
I
for
had
money. Yeah.
yeah.
And they must have
So
heard that
I
you
had to
failed the inspection.
exactly. So I had to pay them 20,000 euros. I had to pay 10,000 euros to burn 2 tons of ice cube makers, and I had to give all the money back to
Oh
all
my
the people.
God.
So I was bankrupt
Oh my
after
goodness.
that
Oh my
again
gosh.
because I put in a lot of money in my startup. I went bankrupt. Then I put a lot of money in the Shopify stores. You can only imagine they also have to order stuff. I went bankrupt. And then I started the Instagram thing. We made money, and I put that money into that Amazon store thing, and then I went bankrupt again. So back then I was already 4 times bankrupt.
But you never gave
But
up.
it is how it is.
But you never gave up.
I can't give up because it was still no option to stay
Yeah.
in that job. Like, and the funny thing is, I went bankrupt, but I had a stable job, so the baseline was still the baseline. I was still
Got it. So you're still at
like,
Siemens while you're doing all these side hustles. I see.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And I knew that's my baseline. That's my
Yeah.
fallback.
Yeah.
So even if I lose all my money next month, I get $3,000. Okay, so I can save
Yeah.
some money to start the next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, many failures, and then I had a few months of downside for me emotionally to recover from that.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is that back then I had that online personalities that I followed that created that big companies, and the one thing they had in common, big successful people always talked about personal development. So I knew about that thing, and I read many books about success because I wanted to learn how to create businesses and attract money, law of attraction and that stuff. I searched for a mentor and got into a mentoring for personal development. And that was the shift. That was the most important decision in my life.
Wow.
Not like everybody tries, but at that point, I tried to not create something. It was like putting me first and transforming my person itself at first before doing stuff. And I cleaned up all the mess from my life. I got rid of my ego. I was really ego driven. I was back then driving an BMW M2 sports car, even with no money. My last money I put on gasoline. So, because you have to attract the girls, right?
Yeah, of course.
So I get rid of all my ego and worked on my self-confidence. I was walking mantras. That is when you say one sentence like for an hour straight and just like, I'm a successful businessman. I'm a successful affiliate marketer. And I walked that mantras every week, every day. And the mentor was very, very strict and gave me tasks for every year because I was so behind it. And he saw so much potential in me that he had interest to see how far I can get it. And I was very fast in the process. And then I also took the school at him. So I actually made the certificate for mental coaching. because then the whole thing was so inspiring for me. And back then, that was 2019. So short before the bull market went crazy. And I started trading because that somehow online I came up across trading. And it was like a shocking moment because many people made money within weeks and days, like a lot of money, life-changing money. And that was the only thing I saw. Life-changing money, fast. And I was like, throw all businesses in the trash can. I will do trading. I will do trading.
What was the
That
first
was when
ad
I
you saw?
started.
Like how like what did you see that got you into trading? Like you must have seen something on Instagram or a friend told you.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, um, 2016 already, I was into crypto investing. So I was always having that industry in my mind, but I never had investment capital. And then I saw many ads from, and I wasn't on Twitter. I saw Instagram ads from someone that does trading. I was like more attracted to that, not the thing that you have to invest and wait, because I was impatient. And a trade is direct, right? If you make day trading, if you're successful in day trading, you can put on, like, get money out of this every day. That was the thing I saw, blind eyed. I have no trading experience.
So you were attracted to the money and the fact that it could be quick. Like so many
It
people are
was
attracted to that.
I was attracted to the possible, like, I was attracted to every business model that could change my life because I
Yeah.
wanted to change my life. It didn't matter what I do. And I didn't do trading for fun, and I didn't do affiliate marketing for fun. The only thing I did for fun back then was personal development.
Hmm.
So, and in personal development, I learned I can do anything. And I just need to set goals, believe in myself, and the answers will find me, right? So I thought trading had found me. God or the universe provided the next chance, the next option for me to do something. The biggest learnings I had, like, every time when you think is that something is ending and this is the end of your career and there will nothing be like, there will no other chances. There will always be the next chance. There will always be the next chapter. After the Amazon thing, I was convinced I tried everything back then. And then trading came. But no,
Well,
I didn't try everything.
you know what's funny is like you were already trading when you were using your Amazon business. You were arbitraging between Alibaba and Amazon. That's
For sure,
trading.
yeah.
So you already
It's a
had that
trading model,
mentality
yeah.
where you were like, "Oh, I can buy something cheap here and sell it for more here." Like you already
Definitely.
programmed.
Yeah, that was trading in like, you have two markets with different prices.
Yeah.
You have to make the connection, and
Yeah.
then you get money, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. And while I started trading, because it made sense, I need to learn that, and I bought some trading books and made an online course, which I pretty much got scammed on. I paid $200 on like an Instagram online course back then.
Do you remember who
And
the influencer was? Whose course it was?
uh I don't remember. And even if I think I don't want to name call.
Yeah, that's
But
fine.
I remember one thing. I bought a $200 course and I got into the course and thought, man, shouldn't have read a book, right? I
Yeah.
should just read a book. Like, they know nothing. And I think they were not successful traders. But I think if you're retail and you just see some crazy Instagram, you see the profits, you think, oh, he is a genius, I need to buy his course. And then you happily buy a $200 course because you think you gain financial freedom. So, but that was really a toxic group I was in. So dropped out of that.
I think we should talk about your trading.
Yeah.
We kind of understand that you got in. I mean, you've been trading on and off for a while now, and it sounds like Trader Mercury helped you take it to the next level. Um,
Yeah.
do you want to talk about what is your trading style? How has it evolved over time? And then we can go from there. And
Oh,
you
yeah.
feel free to share your screen once you're ready, because I think we'd love to see kind of how you think about trading as well. But
Oh, okay.
but yeah, just
I
tell
will
us
share
just
my
tell us your
screen.
style.
Good. Then I need to. remove some things from my chart at first to see where I came from. So I will share my screen and make a selection. Share entire. So I hope you see my screen now.
Yeah, I'm gonna make your screen the largest one.
Sure.
Actually, I can just click on it. Yeah. There we go.
So I started trading back here. I started trading back here, which was a pretty humbling experience because you saw how the market was back then. It
You got
was
in at the
not
peak,
very.
basically.
I got right in at the top
At 2019,
and
yeah.
yeah, had to deal with all that. But before that, there was a crazy bull market, which I experienced from looking outside and from an investment perspective. I had some initial investment from here and rounded or tripped it completely already here, and then it got to zero here. So, and then here I got into like interested in trading. And what my trading style in the beginning was the standard trading style. I drew lines and tried to trade structures like triangles, support resistance, right? So I already my chart would look like I would have a line from that high, pretty straight because it is important level, and I had that diagonal line here, which was completely annihilated here. So as you can imagine, the first year of trading was not very successful. And I traded with that system that really started to work in a bull market here. So I had no moving averages at all and just traded based on structures, liquidity sweeps. So really took it from local ranges. So for example, that one here, I searched then for key levels like these equal lows here and searched for that liquidity sweep here and tried to enter on a retest here. So I entered here and played it to the top side with a diagonal breakout here. So I would enter here and re-add to the position here, and that was my trading style. I never took different setups. That was the main setup I took. That looked like this on altcoins, on Bitcoin, on everything, and they worked great. And somehow I use them still, and they still work out pretty good. So this was my primary
Where would
number
you take
one
profits
setup.
here? So you said you would buy the retest and then you would add on the retest of the
Yeah.
top of the triangle. What would you target?
Oh, the thing was, I had only one take profit level that was taking out that high because the possibility while taking out that high was that you make a deviation back below and you build a larger range, right?
Yep.
So that high definitely was a take profit point, and I always like my habit was leave the rest running because I am a personality of thinking big. If it cannot change my life, I'm not interested. So no shit. So I always played with huge size, way too much size, because I wanted to the trade either can change my life. I would never take a trade for 2 or 5% gain. Never. If I cannot at least imagine that the coin or the index I play make a 2x, I will not play it.
Wow.
So that was just
This is
my
the old you
way of
though.
thinking.
So you would how much would you take off at the top of the range and how much would you leave running? The old you.
20 to 30% here.
Oh my
Leave the rest running.
god.
Yeah.
And you would leave 70% running and just
Yeah,
hope that it,
definitely.
went
Sometimes
exponential.
100%. That
Yeah.
was my trading style. And I like my account went to zero here, here, pretty sure here too. Pretty sure,
A lot
100%
of
sure.
people's accounts went to zero in March 2020.
Yeah.
Um,
So and then I think I had a big drawdown here because I thought we would extend from here. So I was pretty over leveraged here. And then I recreated my account. Like my account was back to break even here. I think here it was back to break even. And then I 5x'd my account on this move and 5x'd it on this move from the 5x.
Wow. So what was
No.
what were you risking? So you said you weren't going to risk 2 to 5%. So you were risking like 10% plus on a trade, at
I will
least.
risk the whole account.
You would just take a 100% Bitcoin position, 100%
100%
risk.
Bitcoin position. If I lose everything, I'm still stuck at freelancing. I'm
Yeah.
a freelancer now, but I was a freelancer at that time.
Oh my
I had
God.
successful, like I made money every month. So money came in, which was a problem because losing money was not that much of a problem. So I got to the habit of risking a lot because I losing 10,000 euros was not the big thing. So I risked a lot more than that.
Wow.
And
So basically you had the mentality that you had no risk parameters.
no,
The point of trading was simply
absolutely
to
not.
become rich. It wasn't going to be a gradual process for you. You were full porting with leverage these long
Absolutely.
positions. And I guess in a bull market it was rewarded. I mean, you said you 5x'd and then you 5x'd again.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
guess
yeah.
that's
It was
25x
rewarding.
your original
Rewarding.
position.
I thought I made it. I think I gone through the standard process of every trader in a bull market. On the way up, you think you made it, and you figured it out. You're a great trader, and then as things stagnate and go down, you realize that you're not that good as you thought, and you lose a lot of the gains. And I think I lost everything.
So just to let everyone know, you've made millions, you've lost millions, and then you've made millions again. Like
Yeah.
how do you mentally recover from that? Um, like
Um,
I think what's amazing to me is like your whole story. We've talked a lot about your background and what got here. We've mostly not talked
yeah,
about trading, but your background is basically you've had these crazy failures and you just keep
yeah,
going. You fail in one startup, you fail in another startup. You don't like your job. Your partner steals the money. You have a business and Amazon sues you.
yeah, yeah,
You have someone that steals all the money from your startup and they drive to Sri Lanka in a McLaren. Um,
yeah.
but you don't give up. And then you lose millions and you don't give up and then you're like, I'm gonna make it all back.
The thing is,
How do you get in that mentality? Like I think that is your alpha. And we should talk more about your new trading style as well. But like I think people want to hear about that.
I think I just refuse to accept this is as my reality. Like it will work out eventually. I'm a strong believer of if you put enough energy in one direction, you will get rewarded. And of course, the failure is included, and you learn through failures. And one thing I have to add to this, what you said, the thing is that I lost a lot of money each time, but the losing of money and making of money got bigger. So first I lost 1,000 euros, then 10,000, then 100,000, then a million. So the numbers, the digits got bigger, and I knew I'm onto something, right? I'm going in the right direction, even if I lose anything. I had it once. I'm onto something where big numbers are, where things start to make sense from a perspective of my life goals and from a perspective of time and money thing, right? So that was the thing. I accepted failure. I had many failures before, so losing it all here because I risked 100% of the portfolio here and lost it here was a thing of it happened. I need to learn something now. So I always strive to learn something. So I changed my trading styles.
We
And
should
I
definitely talk
started
about
with,
that. We should definitely talk about how you
yeah,
shifted from trading lines and risking like 100% of your portfolio on a trade, which whoever's watching this, do not do that. You should short circuit that learning, and you need strict risk parameters. But I think we'd love to hear all about that, Max.
yeah. So the thing is, I was long only trader and I only traded structures and liquidity ranges. I was good in that range or diagonal breakout trades, and I risked a lot, so I made a lot of money. And I had the ability to reallocate my portfolio every time I lost it, but I burned a lot of money I made. I burned a lot of money I made. So I would say I burned more than the average can afford on while learning trading. And I definitely would not recommend starting like that. It was the complete wrong mentality. So, and I knew that, and I like money did not stick to me. I made a lot of money from online courses, from coachings, from companies, and then I would burn it. So I knew I have to add a form of risk management to my system. So I added it. I did not risk 100% of my portfolio anymore. And then I said at the moment I had millions and lost them, that the thing is, even if it's not millions, even if you 5x your portfolio the first time while trading crypto, you realize one thing: big things are possible here. I just need to find an edge to like that money, that I can keep the money. Like it's a giving market. We have a lot of volatility. There are moves. They are so big, immense. So like Mercury every time said, there's endless opportunity in that market. And I knew that. So I knew, and I proved it to me, that everything is possible here. With a little starting budget, I can play it out like to 100,000 euros, to 1 million euros. It was possible for me. I could grab it. It was something real. So I had the burning motivation to learn trading, and I read every trading book I could find. I joined crypto Twitter, which was good, but also toxic. It took me a long time to find the right persons for me, and to differentiate between scammers, posers, and real knowledgeable traders to follow. And many traded with moving averages back then. So I added moving averages. I traded with the 50 and 200-day moving average. So my standard trading setup would look like this. Oh, need to remove one indicator. That's just okay. My standard setup would look like this. So I only play the 50 and the 200 here. And I would play the bullish and bearish crosses like this. And buy retests, right? So play that trend. And so I then had to, because the problem was that was a really draining market. Here I could capitalize a bit, but then again, also with the new system, I gave a lot of money back because I was not used to the system. And I started to make risk management, and I learned risk management in the bear market. So, which was a pretty crazy thing to do. I traded the whole thing here. I traded the whole thing, and I traded it long, and then down here started trading it short.
It's funny how that works,
So
right? You know, you're in denial at the beginning of the bear market. Hey, it might still be a bull market. I'm only going to go
oh
long. And
yeah,
then when it's almost the end of the bear market, you're like, all right, fine, I'll flip short. I'll look at short setups now.
oh yeah, definitely. And every time you see something like this, you think it's the start of the new, like the
Yeah.
back then, everybody was waiting for the third wave. I don't know if you remember, but we had that wave here and that, and back then everybody thought we will get that third wave in the bull
Oh, like
market.
it's going to be three drives. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it never came. And I was also thinking we are in a super cycle. They have to be the third wave. So every time market did a recovery like that, I was tempted to long very hard on that, because I knew from my experience that it was very rewarding in these conditions here, pretty similar, to
Yeah.
go max long. You fall back to your previous patterns because you got rewarded for the wrong system here.
Yep.
So I had to completely wash out my habits that I built up in a thriving bull market in a bear market, because it was no longer rewarding. Because if you risk your whole portfolio here and go max long, you're fucked.
Yep.
Yeah. So
So it must have been kind of hard though, only going long in a bear market. Did you have any success with your newer system, or was it just a struggle until
Yeah,
23?
on some altcoins I could make some gains, but I was like, say we have $100 here, then I had $30 here, but a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Okay, so my trades got I like my trade profitability from here to here. Let's say here I had 10. So my trading profitability was going like this, but I still, after the bear market, I had less money than before. But
Yeah.
my trades got better,
Yeah. You
better
you
and
you
better
were a
and
better
better.
trader.
Yeah. So it's a difficult journey, right? But I always stuck to it. And back then I had my companies, funding startups, making a lot of stuff. So not 100% as a trader, but I always stick to it because I knew once a new bull market starts, and if I get better as a trader, everything is possible in that market. And that idea was so inspiring, like leveraging my money I already make in the market where everything is possible, and 10, 20, 100x moves in altcoins happen. Um, yeah, man, I had to be present. I was like, it's a lifetime opportunity if a new bull market starts, and I need to be able to make money there. It is, I cannot afford to not to if I want to go further, because I now know about trading. I know this market exists. I had no chance escaping that. I knew it, and I would bite me in my tongue if I didn't try it at least. So I stick to it the whole bear market, and I joined Mercury's group here, and it was, I got better here. And I started also trading with a 60-day cycle in that time period here. And I re-added them back to the whole 2020 bull market, and I saw it was pretty fitting. And I changed my trading style again. I learned a lot about trend trading and trend trading altcoins, finding different trend portrayals on altcoins from Mercury. And his market mentality is like, he's a defensive bull. And that saved and made me a lot of money. That mentality. I always was stuck with my systems with different indicators plus trend trading. I never relied 100% on EMAs, the trend in the market structure. I always back then was looking at the RSI, the MACD, so I mixed different things and traded the market with the 60-day cycle. Maybe we can explain that, but it will, without going too long on this. So the market moves in cycles, right? So a cycle of strength, and then a cycle after that strength of cooling off and weakness and finding a low, and out of that low again find strength. And when you zoom out, you start to find patterns in that, and you start to realize that in the bull market the market often moves within 60-day time frames and finds lows in 60-day time frames. So I started trading with a 60-day cycle also, which is basically that chart I post a lot on Twitter, which I used all of this bull market here. And the tactic how I used that chart was I bought spot timing wise, so 100% timing plays on these 60-day low time frames. And I searched for significant bottom events within that 60-day cycle low time frames. And I just plain spot or low leverage long them. And that were my most successful plays. And I was even able to make a lot of money during the 2024 power range, which was very toxic for a lot of people and accounts out there. But through longing these 60-day cycles here and selling the mid-cycle tops, I was able to make a lot of money out of this range. And I played these 60-day cycles on altcoins. So if the theory was if Bitcoin finds a low, altcoins will too. and leveraged on them too. So this was a pretty successful year, and all of 2022 and 2023 were pretty successful trading years for me. And I learned on them, and I learned every day, and I was very active on Mercury's trading group and tried to apply his system. Then I developed my own indicators. I was a lot of like I traded with breadth because I know it from very serious stock traders that they use market breadth to determine in which phase of the market are we, because it made much sense for me to only play long in a market that has the wind in the back and not coming from the front, right? And that is breadth, right? If you have supported market breadth, so the underneath strength in the market is there, buyers stepping in, it is a lot easier to long. So I created my own indicators, refined Mercury system, created my own indicators for that. So how my chart would look like and developed over time is that I was creating a custom breadth indicator. Need to do that one away. That one here. And then I added on top of that, and I think I need to remove that. So this was the market breadth indicator, which give me green signals on positive breadth and gray signals on negative breadth. And I used this breadth indicator within the 60-day cycle of Bitcoin. So when looking at that here, like in 2024, you see that breadth was topping here right in front of a 60-day cycle low. We made a low and then we drifted as breadth drifted down until making the next 60-day cycle low here. And I would enter here, and as soon as I get a sell signal on my breadth and we are near mid-cycle, I would sell too. So that was really without any moving averages, based on structure and breadth. I traded this market and I traded it pretty successful. And
How'd you
then
figure this
I
out?
basically just,
I think it's amazing.
huh?
You know, how did you piece all this together? I guess I think for people that are watching this, it's
Yeah,
important to understand that like there is no indicator that works greater than 50% of the time. If there was, everyone would use it, and then the alpha would
yeah,
decay, and no one would use it anymore. But what Max is
yeah.
doing is he's combining indicators and boosting his chances of success. Um, I guess how did you stumble upon this? Because this isn't, for those that don't know, this is not how Mercury trades. He uses moving averages and trend portrayals and market structure.
Definitely not, right?
Um, but it's fascinating, and yeah.
Well, I I did know some accounts on X that traded in the traditional markets, and they used market breadth on the Nasdaq to determine in which market environment we are. So it made a lot of sense, but I never found a real breadth indicator on crypto. The only thing everybody was talking about is the 4-year cycle and where we are in the cycle. But what is more short-term cycles, and what is the market breadth based on the weekly structure and daily structure? No one could provide an indicator for that. The normal momentum indicators were stochastics, stochastic momentum, MACD, and all that kind of stuff. And I tried them all, and all were pretty lazy and pretty far behind. So you get a buy signal when it's already too late, or yeah, when it's already too late, or you get a sell signal when it's already too late. And somehow it didn't make sense for me. Like, I understood that in specific markets, the stochastic work better, and in specific markets and environments, the MACD worked better. So I threw both on my chart, and then I added the RSI too. And I had no breadth indicator, so I tried to work with them. And then it got quite a mess. So I started to code a breadth indicator that's basically combining stochastics, rate of change, some volume data, momentum, and the MACD on different settings, until with a lot of back testing, I ended with this indicator, which portrays at least on the daily time frame, the strength and the weakness is pretty good. So I tried trading with it and it worked great, but I never used it alone. I just use it as information. Okay, we get the change of breath. That means not, that does not mean that we will not backtest the lows or something. For example, you can bottom on breath with buy signals here. And basically you get the signal at this point. That means not you have to buy right away. You can definitely make a retest, right? So I combined then different stuffs. For example, if breath was bottoming, I would search an entry based on, if we are in a trending market, a local or high time frame trend here. Or if we are ranging market and the breath bottoms at range bottom or range bottom sweep, I would long that. So I combined different things. And as I saw the correlation between breath and the 60-day cycle, the picture got pretty clean. So combining these two indicators, the one is custom made, right, with the 60-day cycle and needs a bit of interpretation where the lows are. But understanding, and Bob Lucas is the number one guy to understanding markets when it comes to cycles, I think. Watch a lot of his videos to educate me in that. I think you did too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So using that knowledge of markets using like markets move in cycles, in waves of strength and weakness, having an indicator that gets you that waves on a way you understand them and see them, and a 60-day cycle. And I added like the TD count. We talked a lot about that. I added that also on the chart. So it gets a bit bloated of information, but if you combine all that, you get a pretty good feeling of, is there a low in or not? So looking at the current situation, for example, it could very good, like the possibility is very high that we make here a low, at least for a push higher before maybe making another lower high on the breath and getting a correction into the next 60-day cycle low in March, which I'm looking at. So to be honest, I'm long here based on the picture of the breath and what I saw on the altcoins today. So I longed around here and we are already pushing higher, and I will see how this works out. I will probably take profits on the way up here because I'm looking for a move into the 6-day cycle low. And with bigger positioning sizing, I always wait for that time frame windows because these just tend, and we also talked a lot about that. You also recognize that looking back at my trades, these timing windows just tend to provide the best opportunities
to go
from
long.
a risk reward standpoint, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
always when you have that lows, also altcoins have very significant lows, and coming out of a fresh 60-day cycle always or very often provides very good rallies. So I'm not bullish here right in front of a 60-day cycle low, but I'm turbo bullish if we put in a low here in that timing frame and coming out of this. So I will really took on more risk from a R perspective in this situation than I have put on the table here. This is just a scalp long to play the range. But here I really play for an eventual breakout and extension higher. And that's my system.
Can you zoom in and draw for everyone the setup that you took today? Just kind of like as an example of how you're trading now.
Oh yeah,
I think that'd be
I can.
helpful.
So on Bitcoin, I go to the 1 hour and just look at it. And I think we got a pretty good idea. I draw the line where I entered perfectly. We get a pretty good idea that the 1 hour was a supportive trend here. And every time we broke it, we went significantly lower. as here. We chopped it up in the range and lost it. And since then, it was resistance, right?
Mm-hmm.
We never really hold above. We never really held above. And we tested it 20 times. I can't even count that. And it was really ugly. And the trigger I saw today to go long, and that now is really important because now I'm combining again many systems. The trigger I saw was I have build up lows here. I have kind of a rangy environment down here with a low previously. So some significant low, which we hope is the low. And then we have a kind of a rangy environment here. And what happened before we went up and broke out of this 1 hour trend was that we swept all the previous lows, including this here. We swept it. So we took the liquidity to the downside here. And then we moved up on an impulsive manner. That means we got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave impulse that brought us above the 1 hour trend. And everyone that's familiar with Elliott wave, you are looking for an impulse to start a bigger rally. If the price action is corrective, which means it's not moving in a 5 wave manner, then it's probably corrective. It often has no follow through. So I saw that different things. Hey, we swept liquidity, and I already here thought maybe that could be a good long, but I waited because we are in front of a 60-day cycle low. So if we get a rally, I want to see it break out above a significant trend first. So what I did is I played a reclaim here, a trend reclaim on the 1 hour on Bitcoin itself, and I bought Bitcoin spot, and my stop is right below here. So very tight. I don't want to risk much of my portfolio here because I see risk going into March. But if this turns out to be the cycle low and we make a very early cycle low and I have to adjust everything, I have at least a starter position in the market. And I took some other altcoins just for fun. Some alts I believe on, and I took them with tight stops like Pepe. That's just playing into the. I love Pepe because it's playing in the theory of maybe ETH catching a bit later on in the cycle, and it is currently in a local range, right?
Yep.
So what it did is it took out this previous low here and bounced. So I entered around here, but it has no really strong move so far. It does not look really convincing. Maybe I will cut it. I'm currently a little bit like 1% in profit, and it looks like beer flag on beer flag on beer flag, never ending beer flags down. And I have this key low, swing low marked here, which I thought maybe we sweep going into March and then coming hardcore out of this while reclaiming a high time frame trend, something like that. And then I would go really long on this because Pepe tends to go vertical as soon as it goes, right?
Yep.
So, and that would be the time frame of a 60-day cycle low, by the way. So you see they matter also on altcoins. That was a 60-day cycle low. That here would be a 60-day cycle low. That would be a 60-day cycle low on Bitcoin. And you see them on altcoins too. That's why I play into the 60-day cycle when it comes to higher position sizes. And in an ideal world, I want to see if we recover from this, something that we put in here. So a low which took out the previous lows here, reclaims the low and maybe reclaims key trends, and then really you should hop on this trend, I think, because I think it will be rewarding. So I will search for an entry here. And today I just added it for fun because it seems like that when I look at altcoins, I don't know what Sonic does, but some like Fartcoin did a 20% move. Some are just popping today like randomly. There's no real. They are all so sold off, you never know which pops next.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, maybe we are finding some kind of a bottom here on Bitcoin. I want to have some allocation, so I will just buy the coins that I later on definitely want to play if I get the chance. to have some form of a starter allocation, right? And that was the reason why I bought some high conviction altcoins today with tight stops.
That's awesome. I longed Jupiter today. It looks really good. That's at like range lows, like high time frame
I think
range lows, and
Jupiter
just
is
reclaimed them.
so yeah. I think the
Oh,
price action
this
on
is going
Jupiter is
well
so
this far.
crazy,
Yeah,
huh?
I said it's going well this far. I haven't looked at it in a while, but I longed this today.
Yeah, it's going well, but I really like, and that's the beauty of trading. Like everybody has its style. Everybody looks at different coins. You see a chance of longing this. Maybe you can explain and share then. And I definitely would not because it's just too messy, too rangy, too sideways for
Yeah,
me
it's just a
to play
range.
into
It's
that.
just playing the range
Yeah,
lows. It re if
yeah, exactly.
it reclaimed a weekly level at the
Oh,
bottom,
it did?
and it flipped it, and it's just a range play. Yeah, if you zoom out to the weekly, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So like I said, that's the beauty of trading.
Yeah.
You see something in that coin, I do not, and I can just pick another market to play, pick Ondo
Absolutely.
or whatsoever, right? And that's great. So I think at that moment, everything is sold off so heavy. If we just see a slight pop on Bitcoin, I want to see some percentages on altcoins. So I just want to have a very low risk allocation to take on some of that percentages going into the next cycle low. And I really think I'm looking for something like that, bottoming out. And you always like often in that markets, you revisiting the bottom range again before making the real move. So
Hmm.
making an initial pop, selling off,
Yep.
and then making the real move is like the standard pattern I'm looking at when looking at markets. For example, which did cost me a lot of money when looking at Bitcoin, when it bottoms, what does it do? It rips up, it solds up completely, and then does the real move, and then does it again and again, right? And so I'm looking at this the same way as previously. You get some form of a low, a rally, a sell-off, and then a real move with no follow through this time. So I see some form of a low, a rally, a sell-off, and then we go. Eventually, maybe we
That's
break
my bread
down.
and butter. Honestly, yeah, the reclaim. Um,
Yeah,
if this recording is about you, but my bread and butter is just reclaim. I would say I'm a reclaim trader. If someone asked me, I just look for that setup wherever it is on a moving average or if it's at a weekly level,
yeah,
key
yeah,
level. Like I'm just looking for that. I want people to be blown out on one direction, either long or short. I want it to retest. I want the volume to be right to signal a reversal, and then I want it to go, and that's where I get in. Um, but I think before we wrap, I think like just summarizing everything, um, I think your big improvement here that's allowed you to keep your millions, your money, I think is your new risk management and like how you've
yeah,
improved that. Do you want to just like tell
definitely.
everyone how you improved it and kind of what your philosophy on that is now? Because you are very
Yeah, it's
disciplined with it.
it's it's pretty discretionary. I'm disciplined with that. Well, I always own like I have just rules to play the market. I want to have the wind in my back, so I will only long if I see the breath turn positive. It's just my indication if the market goes in the direction I want it to. Whether we retest or not, or make a death wick candle, that does not take that into account. But general market has a turning point, and I want to see that turning point. And I'm only interested in playing turning points on a daily level. I'm not a scalp trader because I have no time. I'm running now multiple consultancy businesses, and I have absolutely no time to day trade at the moment. So I'm looking for the bigger turning points on the daily breath. And I think I'm good when looking at this to look for longs here. And then I will not, if I play, for example, the 6 day cycle on Bitcoin, not any altcoin, then I will risk more of my portfolio. Let's put in on the 6 day cycle so I can explain the real trades, how I do it. What I will do is going into a 60-day cycle low, timing wise, I will scale in. I will start buy here, spot, and add with leverage. And my maximum leverage will be 1.5. So I will add 50% on leverage to that position.
So for people that
And
are
I will
watching that
have
don't understand, that means that his stop is very wide.
my stop is very
Yeah, his
wide.
stop
So
is very very wide. It's there's still risk obviously that it could get stopped out, but
yeah,
it's very low risk.
it's very low risk. Um, it's more on a like slightly leveraged spot position I take on, and I'm waiting going into the 60-day cycle low. I'm waiting to see a strong reaction from the market, and as soon as I see within these timing windows here a strong reaction from the market, like this hammer candle back up here, or this here back up, I will set my stop below this low because I assume this is the cycle low for that 60-day cycle. So I add going into the 60-day cycle low spot here. Market moves up. I'm already in profit. I move my stop here and I add then despite like my average entry will be here, and I add as much leverage as I can to that position on Bybit so that my liquidation would be right under my stop, because I don't see the use case of keeping money blocked by that trade. Like you can have a 2x leverage position blocking 50K. But if your stop is 2% away, you can also play with a 50x leverage, right? Because you will get stopped out anyway. So I free my capital and have a long in BTC in play for that 60-day cycle, which I will ride up and partially take profit as soon as I see either breath turn or I see some structure that I don't like. Like, for example, here we had that free drive up and then a hammer candle down here. So I did cut my positions here and cut the rest, I think, here, to only re-add again back here in the 60-day cycle. I completely missed that part here because I was not confident in trading that. And it was a good decision. And I just keep longing, and I did this for all 2024. I keep longing the 60-day cycle lows here, spot, and selling going up. And that was the most amount of money I made in trading in one single year. And what I do is, as soon as a 60-day cycle low, for example, has that build structure, that means we get a 60-day cycle low, the mid 60-day cycle low is way higher, and the next 60-day cycle low is only a dip. I know we will probably in the next 60-day cycle have a good chance to get an extended rally, and I will be positioned with a big part of my trading portfolio here already spot or slightly leveraged long. And also we talked about, because you asked me why I play spot, and I told you going into a 6-day cycle, the market moves so fast and so crazy. I will not catch these knives with tight leverage and tight stops. That is not possible for me, especially if I want to add some spot plays on altcoins. So I just play it spot to have some allocation, because the philosophy is, if the market moves up again in the next 6-day cycle, I want to have exposure. I'm not interested in having the perfect entry. I want to have some entry and get some percentages out of the next rally, because the structure we get out of a 60-day cycle low with the initial push up on Bitcoin and the further push up is that as soon as you get trend retests and reclaims of trends like Mercury system, the problem is that the most altcoins already moved 30% up. And I can't capitalize on that 30% through a trend trading system. If I buy spot, I'm already up 10, 20, 30% as I add on a later on reclaim. So I would, for example, a coin moves out of a 60-day cycle low, I bought spot, I'm already in profit. I can set, for example, let's take Bitcoin. Let's take it from here. It moves out of a 60-day cycle. I'm already here, 10% in profit. And here, 20% in profit. I re-add on the 6-day cycle low and a reclaim of trend. My stop is in profit. It's a complete risk-free trade. And I could add on trend retest the whole way up. And I would cut the position either on trend break or structure before a 60-day cycle low. So the moment we got here I cut my whole position. I'd never cut it here, or here. I did not take anything off the table here, but here I did cut all my position. But because the possibility was here that we drift significantly lower into a 60-day cycle low. I never know how deep they go. So I cut and I re-add based on time. This here was quite a mess.
So do you foresee that this system will work this year? Let's say we have another year of chop solidation like we did in 2024, which I honestly think is possible. Do you foresee that?
Possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think the system will still work the same?
Oh yeah. I think I should stick to the system as long as it works. And the combination of breadth and the 6-day cycle was great for me so far this bull market, and would have also worked greatly in a bear market. I put out the 6-day cycle way back to the bear market too. The cycles will only get a bit shorter because the sell-offs are harder. So I actually plan to play the summer like that. So if we get a summer chop like 2024, it was the most stress-free and highest rewarding trades to not really be only focused on getting the next trending move, the next big leg higher, to just capitalize on the ranging environment and say, okay, I buy a 60-day low at range lows and I sell at range highs in the 60-day cycle high. That alone, I do for 1 year, 5 times. I tell you my portfolio will be up 2x. And that's more than enough.
I love it. This is awesome, Max. I think the last question for me, if you could give your younger self any piece of trading advice, or a new trader, any piece of advice about trading, what would you give them?
Good question. Put aside your ego. I think your ego is your biggest enemy in trading, because also the ego, like out of ego, we get greedy because our dreams get bigger, because the ego wants the even bigger car, the even bigger house, the even bigger account. The ego wants to flex on Twitter. The ego wants to have the numbers optimized on the highest level, the biggest percentages. Put your ego aside. Think about your family. Think about your loved ones. I was able to pay off a big part of the mortgage on the house from my mother throughout this cycle before I had a big loss. And it was the most rewarding feeling. And I would say if I wouldn't have worked so much on my ego, I would probably kept that money into their account and risk it all to just make more money. And in my first cycle, that was my biggest problem. And I lost the most amount of money because of ego and blind ego dreams. So get rid of your ego, do some personal development, and take profits.
I love that. It's so true. I mean, like, there's so many traders out there willing to tell you their system, how to do it. There's so many videos, courses, books on trading, and a lot of them are great and are valid ways to trade, and they are profitable systems.
Yeah.
But unless you're still sharing your screen. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to get rid of it.
There we go, back. And I would say, like, if you can't manage your emotional state, you can't manage your risk, you can't stick to the plan, you're never going to be successful. And that's what makes and breaks, I think, good traders and great traders and bad traders. There's levels to this game. And you constantly hear the best of the best just say it's all mental. It's all mental at the end of the day. Like the good to great jump. So
Yeah,
yeah, man,
you are your biggest enemy.
you are your
It's
biggest
all in
enemy.
your mind.
Greed is the killer. Fear and
Oh
greed.
yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Well, this is awesome, dude. I think we can end the recording here.